The government really this morning is sending a few mixed signals on when that border will reopen.
Well, Laura, the public roadmap that we're hearing in terms of the communication from these seniors ministers is as clear as mud, really, at the moment. From the Daily Telegraph splash yesterday of the Prime Minister speaking about Fortress Australia and an indefinite closure to the borders, he's pushed back on that overnight on Facebook, saying that it's never the approach to have zero cases and the border will be opened as soon as it's safe to do so. But the Treasurer on the front page of the 9 newspapers today talking up the idea that migrants could be let into Australia as soon as next year. And a lot of confusion really about exactly what time frame we're headed when it comes to the international border. Michael McCormack, the Deputy Prime Minister, conceding today that there's no time frame at all, essentially, something that the Labor leader has seized on.
I'm not putting a timeline on it at all. We will resume international travel when it is safe to do so and when the medical experts advise accordingly. That's what we've done the whole way through. There's no textbook that you can pull down from the shelf, open it up and say, well, this is how we address this particular issue or that.
Yesterday, the headlines in all the papers that people would have seen was doors slammed shut. This morning, it's doors are about to open. So it's very confusing, and for the business community trying to get a handle on future investments and where these issues are going, the government needs to keep a single message for 24 hours.
Targets, goals, roadmaps, whatever you want to call it, we do need to see some of that detail. Some of it will have to come in the budget, Trudy, because we need those, economic indicators. Treasury will want to put in place those benchmarks because international travel, opening the borders, really has an economic effect and does weigh in to those assumptions. So back to the budget in a bigger way, spending. It won't be as big spending as the last year's budget, we know that, but aged care is the centrepiece. What do you make of what we know so far?
Well, Laura, this is the long-awaited response to the Aged Care Royal Commission, and we certainly know that there is going to be a significant amount of money heading this way. The government choosing not to go down the path of an aged care levy, which was something that the Royal Commissioners had suggested that the government consider. Instead, what we're hearing is a funding envelope of around $17 billion and a focus particularly on workplace training and ways to attract more skilled workers into this critical industry. But even though $17 billion sounds like a significant amount of money, and there's no doubt that it is, people in the sector are warning that it may not necessarily be enough and that the government should be seizing on the fact that their revenues are much better than they had been predicting just this last October when we had the last budget.
So the amount of money he has to allocate has to restore faith. And the government has even said with its own budget figures that it's $30 billion better off than it was 6 months ago. Can you believe that? This is because of iron ore and company profits and all of that. So it cannot be mean-spirited when it comes to this, because there are millions of Australians that are waiting to see aged care reform. It has to be delivered in this budget. It's been promised in this budget, and it will become an election issue if it's not done properly.
We're also seeing flagged changes to superannuation that are going to be in the budget. The Financial Review this morning, reporting this morning that people downsizing their home are going to be able to turbocharge their superannuation, so lowering the age at which you could do this to 60. Also, more changes on the way for self-funded retirees. They're going to be able to more freely top up their superannuation with the work test abolished, and it currently is applying for people aged between 67 and 74, Laura.
Yeah, I think that will go down pretty well with retirees. Trudy, thanks so much. We'll see you soon.